It started so well. State visits and small talk putting Sir Keir Starmer in the good books of Donald Trump. But now this Indian Ocean atoll darkening relations, the transfer of the Chagos Islands from the UK to Mauritius alongside a military base, triggering an angry outburst. In a 2 a.m. social media post, President Trump wrote the handover was for no reason whatsoever, billing it an act of total weakness and great stupidity that will be noticed by China and Russia.
I think what we saw last night was a series of posts criticising a number of world leaders. That may tell us that the president is frustrated right now. I don't really believe this is about Chagos. I think it's about Greenland, and the best way to resolve that is through dialogue with the Danish government, and that's what we've said all along.
It's certainly a switch from a year ago when the president talked up the transfer.
I have a feeling it's going to work out very well. They're talking about a very long-term, powerful lease, a very strong lease.
Welcome to Reform, Andrew Rossendale.
Reform claiming its leader played a role.
Nigel has worked behind the scenes constantly on this. Look, he knows how devastating this is going to be, giving away a British overseas territory, which we don't need to do. There's no reason to do this, the costs of doing so, and the dangers to our national security as a result.
The Prime Minister has prioritised good relations with Donald Trump, holding his tongue when others have not. But as the world splinters into new power bases and regions of influence, finding a spot for the UK is becoming increasingly fraught. No more so than in our relationships with the USA and China. And that's why the government's decision to allow this central London site to be turned into a Chinese super embassy matters. Critics concerned it could become a centre for spying.
Security Minister Dan Jarvis.
Ministers clear security services have been involved from the start.
China has and will continue to pose threats to our national security. But following detailed consideration of all possible risks around this new embassy by expert officials across government, I am assured that the UK's national security is protected.
Campaigners have vowed to fight the decision in the courts, but with the Prime Minister pursuing closer trade ties with Beijing and planning a visit there in the coming weeks, approval seemed inevitable to some.
It looks to me, from all the evidence, that the government has worked carefully to make sure that they are in the position to make a decision to grant this Chinese embassy, because they want their trade arrangement with China and because they're going to turn a blind eye to all the abuses that China carries out.
Is the special relationship still important to the US?
But could this decision add to transatlantic tension? In London for meetings this week, one of President Trump's senior allies criticised the plans.
I say this as constructive criticism to our friends here, but you know, it does send a certain message, it seems, that China would have such a prominent place and have such a, as they would call it, a mega embassy. I don't think that's a great development from our perspective.
Two countries side by side for generations, but with global norms in free fall, the special relationship has rarely been subject to this type of turbulence. Rob Powell, Sky News in Westminster.